As a young 19-year-old Liberal woman in today's political climate, I increasingly find myself to be one of the few young women in the Liberal Party. Some have attributed the lack of like-minded Conservative women to the growing subscription to woke leftist ideologies and the loss of traditional Conservative values. However, it is important to note that misogyny also plays a part in pushing women further away from the party. What can we do to encourage more women to join the Liberal Party and see them in positions of power?
Well, Charlotte,
I don't accept that premise. I love you, young lady, but I don't accept that premise. In New South Wales, they didn't do pre-selections for so many seats. 13 of these seats, they picked 13 women to run, 12 of which lost. They overrode the membership vote. They never held a members' vote, and they picked 13 women, and they lost. It's not about us not liking women. It's that we don't like, incompetence. That's not to say women are incompetent. Let me give you an example of a good female senator who wasn't pre-selected. Conchetta Fierravanti-Wells, senator for the Liberal Party. This is a factional game. This isn't a female game. And she was not pre-selected. In fact, she was put on an unwinnable position on the New South Wales Senate ticket because she was in the wrong faction. She was a Conservative. She was someone that voted for Pauline Hanson's anti-jab bill back in 2021.
This is heresy. You can't do that.
Exactly. Yeah. But what people are doing, and I don't blame this young girl for this. There's a lot of people that should know better that have put this out there. What they're doing is there's a lot of females in the Liberal Party. They're using the woman card in, not her, a lot of the higher echelons of it to get one up on some of their candidates that they perhaps may not be able to beat on competence or numbers or winning members' votes for pre-selection in these seats. So they play the woman card if they can, or they play the diversity card if they can. For example, we don't have enough Lebos in the party or Indians in the party or whatever. Take your pick, Aboriginals. And that helps them to escalate their ability to move up rather than do more for the community, get more votes and whatever. Is there misogyny? Of course, there's always misogyny in every single party. Is there racism? Absolutely. Look at all the last Labor leaders in the Labor Party. They're all white, but this is the problem. What we're seeing here is a factional battle between the moderates, between the left-wingers, and between the Conservatives and the Liberal Party. It's a lot more nuanced than the Liberals have a woman problem. They don't have a woman problem. There's a factional problem. They can't even pre-select their own candidates. Even today, we are months out from an election, and they still haven't pre-selected candidates in New South Wales for key seats because there's a factional battle going on right now. That's what that is.
So, Joel, you know a lot more about politics, especially Australian politics, than just about anyone I've ever met. Oh. I think with that young lady there, look, I wouldn't have picked her for being 19. I think she looks and sounds like a 12-year-old personally. Right. The reason I say that is I think somebody like her is going to have a difficult time being taken seriously, right? Because of her age, her age and inexperience. That is not a conspiracy against her. Just like when I was, a junior broker, right? And I'd brazenly walk in and talk to these, really wealthy people and try to get multi-million-dollar investments off them. It was never going to happen because they didn't take me seriously because I was too young and I was too inexperienced. The problem is that people like her, very smart, are told that the reason she's not getting ahead. I'm guessing here. I don't know this woman.
Yeah, clearly that's what she's
probably being told that it's because of misogyny. It's because of sexism. It's because of racism. So when you tell somebody that, and they struggle to get ahead, or they see somebody else that perhaps comes from a wealthier family where the doors were opened a little bit easier, they can assume that actually the problem isn't something that I've done, it's just because of the colour of my skin or my gender or whatever. And that's some of the damage that gets done to a lot of young people because they don't realise that maybe right now the opportunity wasn't available to you, but it will be available to you in 2 years, or it will be available to you in 5 years.
That's right.
Right? So because she does look so young, I would assume that in a lot of jobs, depending on what she's trying to do, she would have a difficulty in getting people to take her seriously because she looks very young. She's sort of timid. She's got a timid voice. And I'm just going to repeat myself. And so she's going to get a false sense of what's actually happening.
Well, let me give her what she wants. And what we all want is equality of opportunity. So when you join the Liberal Party, when you join the Labor Party, when you join the Greens or a minor party, what we want out of our democracy is an ability to have the same ability to fund your campaign as pretty much anyone else would, which is why Australia is one of the few countries that has taxpayer-funded elections. You want to have the ability to be a member of the party, do as much time as anyone else would have to. Maybe you've got to do a year or two of volunteering. You've got to be a member for 2 years before you get voting rights. You have to campaign within the party, so people know you. You're part of the machine of the party. You put some blood, sweat, and tears into the party to building it up. You do your years. Maybe you run in a few seats that aren't winnable, but the point is, it's equality of opportunity, and if you have that, you can't complain. That's not what's happening right now. That is not what's happening right now. It's a factional thing where these moderates within the party, they're really left-wingers within the Liberal Party. They have stacked the Liberal Party. They are not allowing Conservatives in. They're not allowing Christians in. We saw this in South Australia when Alex Antic tried to get hundreds of people into the Liberal Party. The Liberal Party establishment tried to keep them out. But unfortunately, there was too many people trying to join Alex Antic. He flooded it with members in the Liberal Party. However, in Victoria, in New South Wales, in Queensland, new members that are trying to sign up, people that perhaps watch this show or watch other shows, they're not letting them in. They're cross-examining them. They're looking at their Facebook. Oh, you liked one post from Joel or this person or that person. You follow this page or that page. No, you're not allowed in. That is what people are being succumbed to. So going back to the woman issue, yes, we should have equality of opportunity. You should have the ability to join the Liberal Party. You're young, you're 19, you should do a couple years before you get voting rights. You should volunteer in a bunch of campaigns, cut your teeth on how to hand out a how to vote card, build something outside of politics, actually run a business, do a bit of charity work outside the Liberal Party, and slowly apply to become a candidate at an election. I think the first election Peter Dutton ran in, it was an unwinnable seat, and he did a very good job in it. He was 19, actually, when he was pre-selected in that unwinnable seat. He did his time. He did a few more elections. Eventually, he won a seat. He did his time. He did his time as the Minister for Home Affairs, and eventually, he was trusted by the party to be the leader of the opposition. There was a build-up. Now, if anyone is denied that from doing similar things, then we've got a problem. Now, that problem doesn't exist in the Liberals with regards to going after women. That doesn't exist. Is there a bit of a boys' club? Yes, but that's because the establishment of the people, it's about who they know and trust and whatever. Does that mean women have to go above and beyond to be completely blemishless in the Liberal Party? More than men? Maybe. But the ability for women to be pre-selected, it's not zero. In fact, what's happening is where in the Liberal Party right now, they've overcorrected. They're pre-selecting women that don't have the support of the members of the party in these areas. And they're sending these women in to lose. And they go in and they lose because they haven't built that time. They haven't done their time and actually built the party up, built the name and brand recognition in these areas. And they get set up to lose. How is that helping them? It reminds me of affirmative action in America, when affirmative action, it gets these black people that have no ability to actually keep up with people in Harvard, these top-tier universities, when they'd flourish in a Tier 2 university. No, affirmative action puts them in a Tier 1 university, sets them up to fail, and then they collapse all the way down to the bottom, and they just drop out.
And that's the problem with quotas. Race, gender, whatever. When you've got quotas like that, you do set people up to fail. But as you said, the Liberal Party overcorrected, but they're not trying to find the best women. And look, some of the teals, whilst I don't agree with a lot of the things that they say, some of those teals should be Liberals. There should be Liberal women in those seats. So, I think there's certainly a problem, but the other side, the Labor Party and left-leaning parties around the world tend to say, well, because you're a woman, we're going to put you into this spot. Yeah. And they put them in places that they can't lose in.
Mate, we got some cracker comments. Sorry to cut you off. One person said, so how do we manage this situation with this issue when you've got, this is what the person said, so to put this out to the Brain Trust, how do single parents manage this with shared custody with regards to kids and social media and everything?
Oh, well, I don't think it, this ban, I think it's ridiculous, and I don't think it's going to work. And let's be honest, most shared custody, one parent will do, I won't say most, but a lot of the time, one parent will allow the kid to do what the other parent won't let them do. right? You see that all the time. You don't want your kid to play PlayStation all night. Your kid goes to the other parent's house, they play PlayStation all night. I mean, I just don't see how you'd ever enforce this. But the other thing to remember here is some of the damage that'd be done by you cutting off communication between your child and other people, extended family members and things like that, right? You're going to cut them off. You know, I don't get this. And again, was there community support for this in the first place? I mean, if there was, I'll stand corrected. But I don't think government was asked to create a ban.
Yep.
I mean, parents should already have the ability to control their children with parental controls on the devices if that's what they want to do. But kids aren't going to want them to, so you're going to enforce it by a ban? It just...
Honestly, I think that the government should be taking a lot of these things to the election. They should, when you go to vote, yeah, you have your how to vote card ready to go and you vote for the lower house candidate, you vote for the upper house candidate, but there should be a whole separate sheet and there should be like 10 things on it. 10 things.
Like
10
they do
different
in the United States with ballot initiatives, right?
They're brilliant ballot initiatives. Like, do you think cannabis should be legalized in California? That sort of thing, like what they do. But you should have like 10 different questions on different things. Yep. Do you think, and look, maybe they're not constitutionally binding. Maybe some constitutionally binding, maybe some are plebiscites that are indicators. But whatever it is, we should have more direct democracy, not less. And because when you get less, you get the misinformation bill just losing. It should be losing by 70%. I guarantee you, if you put that to a vote, we would win by 60 to 70%.
I reckon it'd be high. I reckon it'd be 90% of Australians. But you know what, Joel? The reason that they're not doing it is because they don't want to. Because the reality is, the Voice, when it first was proposed, actually had the majority of Australians supporting it until the details became very hazy. People weren't sure exactly what was going to happen. There were some real concerns that were brought up. And basically those concerns, nobody even attempted to affray the concerns. What they just did was said, oh, you're racist, you're dinosaurs and dickheads, or whatever Ray Barton said. Like, they just, called everybody names and then wondered why people turned against them, right? What's happened since then? The only place in Australia that voted for the Voice was the ACT. Every other state and territory voted against it. Now you've got the Labor premiers around the country trying to introduce a treaty at state level. Why? What part of no didn't you get? The misinformation bill. Let's just pick a figure, 70%. If 70% of Australians don't like this and don't want it, they don't care whether you want it or not. They don't want the public to actually, I know I sound like a conspiracy theorist here, they don't want the public to have a say because the public's going to tell them very clearly, I can't swear on this, to go away, right?
Let's be honest, how would an Aussie speak? It's daft.
Yeah, I was going to say something else. Sure. But we don't want them to do this. Yeah. So what they're doing is they're doing it through the back door. When did the Labor Party, coming up to the last election, ever, I mean, maybe they did and I missed it, did they ever say that their platform they were running on was to introduce a misinformation bill? Was that something they were discussing?
Maybe it was in the manifesto, but it was never talked about publicly. I don't remember it being public. But
there just isn't the public support for it. So I agree with you that we should be able to have things like a ballot initiative or a mini referendum or non-binding plebiscite or whatever. So at very least, the politicians can get some feedback about what the Australian people want.
Yeah.
And the Australian people don't feel like they're alone, because otherwise you walk around going, am I the crazy person or does everyone else agree with me? We should have that.
And in terms of the mechanics of how government would work, it would be a lot more efficient, because often what we have is a debate over, we won and we won on a mandate of this, and then the other side saying, no, you won on this, not that, and whatever. Whereas if you have a clear vote, this is the percentage of this, and this. It may not be a constitutionally binding vote, maybe a plebiscite, but maybe it is a constitutionally binding vote and you do give them information and they can look at it. I just think that I
guess the question there, Joel, would be because we would say if it's a major change to how our country is going to operate, then it should be something that's voted on. But who's going to determine what a major change is? When John Howard citizen-initiated
referendums, that's what it's called, sorry.
Yeah.
So you can citizen-initiate it.
When John Howard ran on the GST, he actually ran on the GST. There was no secret that he was going to introduce the GST. It was the platform he ran on. John Hewson was unable to get it through. John Howard won, and he got it through. So do you need to have a referendum in those sort of circumstances? Probably not. But things like the misinformation bill or the Voice or anything like that, yeah, we should be asked whether or not we want to spend. How much did they spend? 400, 500 million or something on the Voice?
It was $500 million.
Like, we should be asked, is that something that you want to see our tax dollars spent on?
It was $500 million from the Electoral Commission, and it was like 100 million for the yes side and 40 million for the no side.
Yeah.
And it's like, you could have built like a town in the Northern Territory. Like, you could have done so much.
So here we have people saying that, oh, look, what we want to do is help parents by passing rules that restrict access for young people to use social media. Why don't you pass some rules that help parents with the cost of living? Why don't you pass some rules that help parents get a few more hours a day off work so they can spend time with their kids? Why don't you pass some rules that actually give the kids something to do? Because you don't want your kids out and about because of how dangerous things have become, you know. So why don't you pass rules that actually give kids something to actually aim for? But we're not doing that.
We're not. I'm shocked by how many people are watching live. This is awesome. I think it's over 1,000 now across the platforms. It's almost 100 just on Rumble, which is not a very. It's one of my smaller. It's only like 1,000 followers on Rumble, so 10% of them are on. Whereas Facebook, it's like, it's like 130,000 followers on Facebook, but the turnout's terrible because of censorship. That's why I'm trying to get you guys on a Rumble if you guys are on other platforms. We should finish this Q&A thing. But you can see we're very passionate about this because it's social media and tech amplifies evil.
Yeah, if I have a chance to whinge about government, I'll never...
Never toss it up. Here we go.
Basically, what you do.
Yes. Yeah, so I think it's a great question, and I never shy away from our issues as a party. But I will say that I can see improvements, and I know that, in the media, people might not want to be too generous to us, but we are trying, and we are starting to see results in that. And in one of the ways that, Hilma's network is trying to contribute to that is about 8 weeks ago now, we launched our own podcast. It's not one of the crazy ones, don't worry. And it profiles our female Liberal candidates ahead of the next election. And that is one of the ways. I don't think it's also, just to bang on about social media again, having these super digestible bite-sized politicians. We actually need longer forms ways to get to know our politicians. And that is one of the ways we are proactively trying to create something that brings it to people wherever they're at, whether you're walking your dog, commuting to work, or,
I really like
So,
that.
Afra, I want to bring you back in. So you joined the Liberal Party, but you're
Remember,
saying
the question
you
was,
feel a little out.
The question was about how
misogyny.
Misogyny.
Yeah.
And the actual statement, the girl started her statement was saying, I'm all against, wokeism and stuff like this.
Yeah, yeah.
And what's going on is the Liberal Party getting dragged further left?
Yeah. Yeah, they're just trying to drag it left anyway. I was going to say there's one person... what's it called? One person said that I love this man. I'm talking about you.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, I told you. We're building a cult following for you. Yeah, this is, again, I don't have their name, but it's called Miss Smiley B. So it could be a dude, but I'm assuming it's a lovely older lady.
I'd like to remind our 19-year-old Liberal Party lady who actually gave women the vote in this country. I'll give you a hint. It wasn't Labor.
I thought you were going to say, I'll give you a hint, it wasn't women.
No, that's not what I meant. No, but it was the Liberal Party that that gave women the vote in this country.
Yeah. Yeah, let's go back to it, guys.
Outnumbered, I'm guessing.
Yes, that's true.
What do you think would work to bring more women like you in?
I think an honest conversation with women speaking to women, I think would be better because I feel like women just understand how other women think rather than just a man speaking to them and mansplaining things.
Right. There's a bit of mansplaining going on, is there?
A little.
well,
So can men have... So
always
my whole
make-
rant before was mansplaining, the whole thing about, well, this is how the dynamics of the party work with the different factions. And if I explain that to you, I'm mansplaining.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like, this is literally how politics is done. In Labor, it's not 3 factions, it's 22. So you'll get more mansplaining in the Labor side.
90% of the teachers in my primary school were women.
Yeah.
And I got quite offended by that, Joel, because I did identify for a brief period of time there as a woman.
Yeah.
And I felt very...
You did too. You actually
I can't
did.
even keep it straight.
No, you actually did. You did resonate. You played the devil's advocate. Well, like Joel. You know. God help us. Oh, God. Oh, my gosh. Now, I was going to say, I forgot to say it before. A lot of these things with men wouldn't feel so dispossessed if we didn't have so many. If they had more male role models in their life through teachers. Like my school, I was very lucky. I had the opportunity to have many male role models at the school. Not just a great father and uncles and whatever, but also great role models at the school. I think it was like something unheard of. It was like 60 to 70% of the teachers were men. Unheard of. Because it was a private school and they paid top dollar because they knew that all boys school, you need men to be there to provide that role model sort of role.
And you need to have a little bit of rough and tumble with boys, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Boys and girls are just different. That we just are.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But this, I'm sorry, look, I don't want to friendly fire at, our own party, but what is this nonsense? Oh, the men are out there mansplaining. Really? What are women doing? What, you're coming at us all the time about toxic masculinity and, men are doing this and men are doing that. Men are driving too aggressively and men are dominating the sports. So what's the difference? The member for Sydney, right? I was at the train, believe it or not, I actually caught a train once.
Right. I believe it.
I'm at Sydney train station and, the central train station. And I know this sounds just stupid and it doesn't matter, but there I am, and I noticed that there were there were female bathrooms there, and there was no male bathrooms. So I said to the thing, well, about equality, where's the male bathrooms? And they go, you got to go all the way out and all the way down to basically outside the train station to the other section. I'm like, well, how come they've got 4 women's bathrooms and there's no men's bathrooms? Yeah. Now, look, I don't care about this. This is not something I'm passionate about. Yeah. But if you're going to get in my face about bathroom equality, right, then I'm going to say something about it. This is why I'm not free. That's why I had to leave Australia.
This is hilarious, mate. Women's splate. What the hell are they doing? That's a good point. Again, and just for everyone listening online, as a statistic, this is a critical statistic. For the people listening online thinking, I'm not one of those podcasters, this podcast, 65% are women that watch this. 65% are women that watch this. It's not like a young men sort of, frat party sort of thing.
And women are fed up with it as well, and women aren't happy with their sons going through this. Women who have sons, I talk to mothers all the time, and they go, like, we're really, really worried about like how our sons are supposed to navigate through this world. Yeah. And just lastly on this women's splaining thing, so Kamala Harris, she went into a barber shop. I know I said it on the show. You don't see... look, if Donald Trump went to Ella Bache and said, look, I'm just going to talk to you girls as you get your legs waxed, right? the women are going to say, listen, mate, piss off, right? Why is Kamala Harris in a barber shop? Come on, if there's a male-dominated space, it's that. Get out, right? Yeah. But they just want to be... No, I've said enough.
No, that's all right, man. Guys, leave your comments. Leave the comments in the rumble.
Maybe don't leave.
We're almost done. We're almost done. I know you love Shaq. Show him some love.
Make myself available to have a very honest conversation with you, and I will not sugarcoat it because there are still systemic issues that we are facing as a party. But I can promise you, I'm trying really hard.
Sorry, can someone tell me which party she's in?
I thought she said she was a Liberal.
Did she say she was a Liberal?
I thought that's what she said.
Yeah, okay. I think she was referring to the little kid as in our party thing.
Okay, yeah. All right. Actually, no, you're right. You're right, 100%.
And there are other women who are too. And I really feel like that connective energy is starting to actually pay off. We are speaking out about it. We are finding our voice. And I genuinely am sorry if it, hasn't been a good experience for you, or if it hasn't been as evolved as it should be by now. But yeah, I would love you to come to a Hilmer's event next time. There's one in Melbourne.
Okay, no recruiting on stage.
I feel bad for that kid. That's mental illness.
We're seeing a lot of political polarisation that's gendered as well, aren't we? Women have been drifting to the left and men to the right. That's partly part of the story, I'm guessing, with recruitment too.
Yeah, it could be. I think the Liberal Party can do two things. It can treat women who are already among its ranks a bit better. I see Moira Deming in the audience. She's been treated absolutely horribly by the Victorian Liberal Party.
Moira. Love Moira.
So the second thing that the Liberal Party can do is just have better ideas. The biggest issue with the Liberal Party is not gender, it's generational. There's a lack of young people. The number one issue in this country is housing. The Liberal Party needs to make sure that young people can buy houses so they can start families. If young people can't buy houses and start families, then they won't become conservative. So young people become more conservative.
Become conservatives.
Yeah,
Once they
maybe
have
they
something
need to
to
look at things like
conserve,
the
if
Marriage
you don't
Act
have anything to conserve,
and the family laws in this
why would
country.
you ever become a conservative, right?
That's critical. That's critical.
There has to be a vision. I don't see the current Liberal Party speaking to young people about this issue. It seems to be a party for baby boomers, really. And once the Liberal Party has better ideas and they can speak to younger people, I think we'll get more women on board.
Well, Claire has shouted you out, Moira Deeming, and so I now have to bring you in because blame Claire. You are a member of the Parliament in Victoria, for those who don't know, and you are, you know, you've been in a kind of ongoing legal battle with your leader. But in terms of the Liberal Party, do you think it's a welcoming place for women?
You basically called her associating with Nazis, just to refresh your memory. Just a slight legal battle.
Absolutely. The members have been fantastic. The federals have been fantastic. And there are lots of people inside that have been fantastic.
And are you going to make a federal tilt? I've heard rumours.
I'm sure you've heard all kinds of rumours.
Just that one.
Well done.
I am where I am and I'm happy where I am. Obviously, I don't want to be on the crossbench.
Yeah. What do you make of Afra's commentary?
Oh, I'd love her to touch base with me outside of this public arena.
Outside of the ABC.
Look, all political parties have this kind of thing going on. I think it's about power. I think gender is an excuse. I think there are a lot of excuses made for people just trying to hold on to power. I don't think there is always narcissism going on in politicians, but I have seen some, I'll admit.
That's right. You
All
didn't
right,
hear
thanks,
from
Moira.
me, you
And
heard
we've
it
got
from
a
Moira
final
Deeming,
question
who was
tonight
kicked out.
from Claudia
and she's a woman.
Hamel.
I hope you enjoyed that particular clip. Remember to like, subscribe, share this video, get it out there. We've got to break the echo chamber. But also, if you're trying to get a hold of me a little bit more directly, I have actually a whole membership group of people on Buy Me a Coffee. It's kind of a overrated eyebrow club that I've formed. You guys know how much I love eyebrows. If you click the link in my description or if you click the link in my bio, you will actually see a link to join the Buy Me a Coffee family that I'm building. I want to be able to share more with you guys as to what are my plans ahead of the election, what are my raw and uncensored predictions for the elections and the various bills going through the parliaments. But also, I want to hear from you guys. What are the big tools that you want to see to help you meander through the craziness that will be 2025? And what advice do you have for me? What do you think the biggest issues are? Some of the best projects I've come up with have been from your ideas. The How to Vote cards, the LGBT book registry, the reparations calculator. These are all things that you guys, from chatting with you, have inspired in me to form and make. I just happen to have the means to do it. But I want to actually, you know, be walking around with both eyes open as to what's going on in this country. And the best way to do that is through you. It's through family. And I think that's why they try to destroy the family unit in this country. If you want to join the club, click the link in my description, click the link in my bio, join the family. There's 3 different eyebrow tiers, bronze, silver, and gold. You don't have to go for the gold one. The bronze one is really good. We're going to be chatting monthly on a Zoom together. We're going to be chatting about what's going on in this country, and I'm going to be able to hear about what's going on in your lives, what you guys need, and where you see things going. And I can be a little bit more raw with you and let's just say swear a little bit more, which I really want to do. I'll see you guys later. God bless you. Thank you again for your support, and I'll see you in 2025.